Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm James L. Allen, and this is James L. Allen Country Cooking and Variety Show. I'm glad you tuned in to us today, and tell someone about us, friends, family, whatever. But I've got some interesting guests on the show today. Now you can tune in to YouTube to pull up our show. That's where we usually post first, and then you can go to a week later to Comcast. Okay, if you're in the Sacramento area or down as far as Modesto, Comcast channel 18, AT&T UVerse channel 14, and for you people out there online, accesssacramento.org. Now, among my guests today, my first guest will be Mr. Gary Simon. He's head of tourism here in Sacramento, and he's in charge of the Juneteenth celebration every year, which I've gone to before. It's a really nice turnout you have there, too.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Simon?
Yes, sir.
We've planned things before, we had things pop up, but we finally got a chance to do this. It's a
Yes,
pleasure.
sir. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you on my
Yes, sir.
show.
Yes, sir.
Now, we were talking earlier before we started filming that you're originally from Virginia.
Norfolk,
Norfolk,
Virginia.
you
Yes,
said?
sir. Norfolk, Virginia. Was born there, ended up being raised in Anchorage, Alaska.
Okay.
My mom followed her sister to Anchorage, Alaska, so I graduated high school in Anchorage, Alaska.
Okay, like I said, that's a far stretch from Virginia.
True
Okay,
enough, true enough.
It took a while to get used to that real cold weather. I know it gets a little chilly in Virginia, but nothing like Alaska.
Nothing like that. Actually, fortunately enough for me, I was young enough to adapt. So I got used to it, but when I was old enough to leave, I left, and I have not been back. So,
How long were you with the tourism?
well, I was the director of multicultural affairs for the Sacramento Convention and Visitors Bureau for 17 years. My responsibilities were to bring ethnic organizations to Sacramento. So within that realm, we also were able to work with all of our local ethnic organizations to partner with them and support their efforts in festivals and/or scholarship brunches or whatsoever to infuse a little hope into the community relative to connections with the city. So we were able to do a lot of good stuff. It was just time for me to launch out and do my own thing and try to make my mark, as they say.
Leave your legacy behind. Now, what I would like to do, I was telling you before we came on air, I want you to come back the end of May, so
Love
we
to.
can refresh people's mind about the upcoming event on the Juneteenth celebration.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
But hey, I know you're in charge of the Juneteenth, like I was saying. Let's talk a little bit about that so folks will know.
Well, Juneteenth will happen June 19th through the 21st of June this year. This is our 14th year producing the Juneteenth Festival. We started producing the festival when I was with the Sacramento Convention and Visitors Bureau. I'm no longer there, so we've made the Juneteenth Festival a nonprofit organization, Sacramento Juneteenth Incorporated. So we'll begin on June 19th through the 21st of this year.
I came out there. The first time I came, I was just amazed at the amount of people that were
Yes,
there.
sir.
You know,
Yes, sir.
and it made my heart feel good too.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We've been blessed.
Okay, well, like I was talking earlier, I went down with the crew and we did the celebration for Emancipation Proclamation January the 1st down in Stockton. This is their 6th year, okay? And I can see, as my friend Ralph White down there, he was on the city council for 16 years and vice mayor of Stockton. He was saying, well, hey, we were really free like January the 1st, 1863. I said, well, I had black history in high school, so I was aware, but there are a lot of people that aren't.
Right.
And he was saying, he said, well, you know, May 20th is when the slaves in Florida were let know that they were free, and the 19th of June was for the Texas slaves. Well, that hits home because my mom is from Texas. A lot of my family's from Texas.
Okay.
But hey,
So we also do a parade on June 20th, that Saturday, but we begin our Juneteenth on a Friday, June 19th, with the Gospel Under the Stars gospel concert. So we'll do that Friday at the amphitheater in William Land Park as well. Then we'll follow that up with Saturday at William Land Park also with the parade that starts at 11 a.m. And from there, the parade will lead up to the park where we kick off the festival. During the festival, we'll have 2 stages of live entertainment. UC Davis will sponsor or produce our Health and Wellness Pavilion. We'll have an educational and arts theater, children's area, the food vendors, as you mentioned, and then a fitness camp. So we've made Juneteenth into a 3-pronged organization, focusing on education, health, wellness, and then, of course, the production of the festival.
it's a good thing that you're doing that.
Yes,
It's a
sir.
real
So
good thing.
the way that came about is when I was at the Bureau, the Farm to Fork initiative came about. So in that process, as a director of multicultural affairs, we wanted to bring more color to the alignment of folks that they were dealing with in regards to farmers, restaurateurs, and so forth. So in Sacramento, there weren't very many African American restaurants. So what I thought to do was, okay, well, let's bring some chefs together, create what we call the Sacramento Juneteenth Black Chefs Collaborative. And we've come together and have infused ourselves within this Farm to Fork movement. But in addition to that, we've started doing our own food and wine events. We've added Mac McDonald, who is a black winer, has a black winery up towards Napa area. So we started producing high-end food and wine events. Last year we partnered with the California State Library to produce the California Culinary Celebration. They were acknowledging the first Black, Asian, and Hispanic cookbooks in California, so we partnered with them to do that event. So the collaborative is a ongoing piece to infuse into the Farm to Fork piece, but also to offer our youth a potential career opportunity in culinary, from farming as well as the cooking component to that.
I can say I look forward to working with you. I'm glad to, I'm a strong believer, as T.D. Jakes say, nothing just happens. Everything happens for a reason. We were brought together for a reason.
That's right, that's right. Now, in that education of the youth component, as part of our health and wellness component with the culinary piece, we're working to introduce a program called Food Equals Math and Science. Okay. Is a cooking program, but we're concentrating on the math of ingredient measurements and then the science of putting things together. So that's part of what we're trying to do as far as health and wellness, healthy eating, and then the education component. So it's a lot going on. Looking to partner with the American Legion High School. Okay. They have a culinary as well as an agricultural program at the school that we're looking to tap into. They're actually farming and producing fruits and vegetables now. So we want to build into that, bring the chefs and start doing the cooking classes as well as the farming components, just to bring that piece together. Now,
I saw there was a young brother over in Oak Park. I think he's got about 3 acres. He had a nice farming thing going in the city, and everybody was saying, no, you can't do this. I see finally they let him go and they let others go.
Just passed that law, the Urban Farming Act, I guess is what they're calling that. And that's a good thing because a lot of folks, it's healthier, first of all, not to mention the economic components related to going to Safeway every other week or whatever it is.
Well, I think if this country went back to organic, just like with the farm workers out in the fields working with all these chemicals and stuff,
right.
That's not a good thing.
No, it's not.
As far as eating it or being around it, okay?
Right.
And organic might not look as pretty, but it's healthier.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Like I say, we have crossed wires a couple of times trying to get together, but we finally got together.
It's been a pleasure. Yes,
and whenever you got anything to do with food, anything that's good for the community, give me a call.
I will definitely do that.
And we'll try our very best to make it there and cover it for you. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I appreciate you being on today,
Thanks for having me,
It's a pleasure meeting you in person and
yes, sir.
over the phone for a while, okay?
All right.
But hey, feel free to come at any time, okay?
Yes, sir.
And do come back before Juneteenth celebration, okay?
Will do.
But I'm here today. I've got some interesting guests on the show. I've got a good friend of mine, Mr. Al Wilson. He's a known entrepreneur in the Sacramento, California area. Now, I know the show has been seen around the world, but we're here in Sacramento. And he's got a guest with him today, a good friend. And I'm not going to do a lot of talking. I might ask a question or two somewhere along the way. But Mr. Wilson is one of my mentors, okay? If you ever saw the movie Good Morning Vietnam, he created that set. You see, I listen to what you say. He created that set for that show, for that movie. But he's here, and I'm not going to talk a lot. I'm going to turn everything over to Mr. Al Wilson, and he'll introduce his guest. Okay, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you very much, James. It's a real pleasure to be on your show today.
It's a pleasure having you, Mr. Wilson.
And it's always a pleasure because when I see your show and what you're all about is educating communities, but more importantly is to expose them to better ways of life through eating, through understanding being a good citizen, what that means. And as a result, that's why I'm so glad to be here with you. Because I have a very dear friend. You know, often I say to the public, we have friends, we have associates, we have relatives. Rarely is there an opportunity that you grow up, especially to be the age that I am now, because I was born back in the 1900s. So this is a whole new generation. But the person I'm going to introduce you to, we knew one another when we were around 19 years of age. And we thought at that time we knew everything. And I did, so I went in the military. And that's where I became an entrepreneur in the military. I was chief engineer of the Armed Forces and Radio TV service. So I did design the station for Good Morning Vietnam. I was in Vietnam and Thailand, the Philippines, and all over. But while I was doing my service career, my very dear friend by the name of Arif Khatib, he and I had different ventures in life, but we wind up at this time having something that we want to share with you because it's important to leave a legacy. Now, legacy can come in many forms. We want to express to you what we feel today as an educator. He has attended some of the universities and traveled all over the world. He grew up in the Bay Area. Arif has been a dedicated person, first to himself, so he can be used as an instrument and a tool. And ever since I've known him, he brought nothing but value, not only to himself, but any associates that we know, right? So without saying any further ado, please, Arif Khatib.
Thank you very much, Al, for that wonderful intro. I'm not certain if I'm deserving of it, but thank you nevertheless. I think it's also appropriate, Mr. Allen, to thank you for having us on your show.
No problem. Glad to have you.
I came in not knowing that it was going to be on the show here. Al asked me to be on, and it's my pleasure to be on this show because having sat here and listened to those who are ahead of me that will be on your rebroadcast, it gives me a pretty good idea of what this show is all about. It is obviously community oriented, and you apparently are one of the stronger leaders of that community. I applaud you for taking the initiative that you've taken here with this show to inform our community and communities at large for what you're doing.
Thank you.
You're so right. He is a pillar in the community, but now he's turning that pillar into stone. That means he'll be here for a long time. But the reason Arif is here is because he has connection with a young man that he mentors that wrote a play. But since he and I have been talking about this play, I had the opportunity to see it a couple of 3 weeks ago. But it's not a play, it's an educational tool that, Alan, we're going to bring to Sacramento and actually take it throughout the state of California. But so many times we can do things and we don't realize the true value. Arif, if you will, share with us why you feel this is so important in your life, and give the name of the play because it explains everything.
Thank you. First of all, a little background. The young man who wrote this play, a graduate, very astute young man. His name is Richard Torrance. Richard graduated college in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And from there he went on to Edinburgh Business School in Edinburgh, Scotland, to get his business degree in strategic planning. And he came back and went to work for Dell Corporation. During this time, his ambition, his life, was to write a play about the problems that's in our community every day, and how those problems, to some extent, can be alleviated. And the name of that play, by the way, Richard is a Christian person, brought up in the churches in Arkansas where he was born. The name of the play is Lord, Why Can't I Do Right? It is
We all have said that one time, right?
It is a musical, but it's also a comedy, but it's also very relevant. And that it strikes to the core of what is happening in our community today with our young men, yes, and then to a certain extent, gradually, our young women. We have more and more young women that are getting involved in this. My job was to mentor him. But after getting into the play and selecting the director and watching the rehearsal, I said, this play is more than a play.
Yes.
This play has the ability to convey a very important message to communities all over the world. Consequently, I convinced him to get the play out as quickly as he can, because everything is about timing. Right now, with the problems that we have and across the world, particularly in our own communities in America, this play can help address those critical issues. And so I encouraged him to get it out right now. And we were able to do that on January 6th in San Francisco, 16th, I'm sorry, in San Francisco. Then we moved it to Las Vegas. Then we moved it to Oakland. And now we're bringing it to Sacramento on the 28th of March. Then to Stockton, Fresno, Los Angeles. And it is likely to come back again before we leave the West Coast. From there, we're going to take it to his hometown of Little Rock, Arkansas, and to Houston, Memphis, Jackson, Mississippi, Dallas. But we want the people in California, and particularly in the western part, to know about this play and know what it really does, because it is going to enhance many lives. It is going to change the lives of many. And that's why I'm so excited about it, because it's a change in opportunity, and I'm just proud to be part of it.
Well, good. I'm very glad to hear that, because when you told me about the play, I traveled to Oakland, I think was the last showing.
Yeah, on 31st.
Right. And I'm a pretty grounded person, but I've done many shows and traveled all. Most of you remember Rancho Arroyo Sports Complex back in the day, so I'm old school. I've been a professional in the entertainment world promoting. But when I saw this play, it changed my life. I haven't been the same, because it relates to men and young men especially of today. It identifies where we have gone wrong. The fact by the name itself, the artist is right on. God, why can't I do right? I don't think that there's a person that will hear me speak the title will not understand there's something here that is wrong. And this play has the answer to make it right.
That's the key.
So I applaud you for calling me. And you really brought something to my heart. And I pledge we got to share this with the world. But mainly this
we're
play,
doing that right now. Go
we're
ahead.
doing that now. This play, I've never seen one that addressed males as far as responsibility, being a role model, being a mom, a dad, or taking care of them. Because there are times we as males have to be the mom. Mom is not there. There's so many elements that this play presents. Every person would sit there and watch it and say, wow, that's me. That's me. I know him. It's someone there. So I'm very pleased that you are doing this, and I would do my utmost to make sure we succeed.
Mr. Wilson,
Okay?
Yeah, you skimmed past something there.
What did I do?
Back up. This gentleman is, besides he's a great entrepreneur. I've talked to people, and your place has been talked about a lot. A lot of the military guys said that's where we used to go. He used to have different acts, the Temptations, big name groups. Too.
Yes.
Beautiful place. The Olympic, I think you said, trained there, some of the members. At one
Yes,
time.
yes.
Now, tell them where the place is located. If they would drive by and take a look.
The place is located at
What's the new name? It's another new
9880
name.
Jackson Road, formerly known as Rancho Arroyo, which is a facility that I bought in 1978 and built. The completion happened in 1985. And
Beautiful
from there
place,
was
folks. Beautiful
history.
place.
But because of the loss of family members and others, I sold it. It is now dead. Needless that I feel or know, I was building a church. It is one of the largest Ukrainian church today, known as the Slavic Missionary Church. And this play will fit. So I'm going back to a church that was one that I built and dreamed about years ago. It is a legacy that I have put on this universe when I'm dead and gone. But now they're going to remember this play that was also there. The play, as I share with the Reef, it shouldn't be in a theater. It needs to be in the community. It needs to be played at churches. It needs to be where the church can take the play and begin to teach each and every week on what it means to be a father, to be a son, to be obedient, to learn. God, why can't I do right? Because everything that we experience and see socially today, oh, there's so many things wrong that we've taken it on as being right. We got to change that.
Absolutely.
Drugs, abuse, you name it. I won't give away the play. They got to see it. Okay?
That's a good point to leave. That is not to give away the play. But you know, you touched up on something early on. You were talking about being in the church. This play is a unifier. It can unify a community where you get away from, I'm a Baptist and I'm a Methodist, I'm a Muslim, I'm Indian or whatever you are. It's community.
Yeah.
And we all must be together and we all must come together in order to save this country and save this world. You also spoke of something else about the reality and how real the play has become. It surprised all of us. On the 7th show that we did, the closing night, there is I won't give up any part of the play, but there's a part in this play where the minister who's been born again from drugs, from the community, he's having his Sunday morning church service, and his missionary, as we do in all the churches, will give people an opportunity to say what church they're from. Our visitors, for the first time on the 7th show, 5 people stood up and said where their church was from. Wow. Now that was reality, and that we talked about that afterwards. We actually had to kind of stop them for a moment because it wasn't part of the script, and let them know we need to move on with the play because they were standing up all over the theater. My name is so and so, and I'm from First Baptist Church, and so it was. They were doing a testimony. It was testimony. The play was so real to them.
They thought they were in church.
That they felt that they were in church, and you will feel like that with this play because it's much more than a play. It is our life, and again, I repeat myself. It is a unifier. I can assure you that when you leave this play, you're going to talk about how you can make your community better, how you can make yourself a better person with domestic violence, with drugs, with the family unit, and the lack of family. It brings it all together with this young man, and he quotes scripts in there that's really just matches what they're doing. And I don't want to forget something else that's very important to you. Every cast member, and there are 12, are professional singers. And they sing. And if they don't make you shout
and cry,
yeah, something's wrong.
It's touching.
And you will find that to be a fact. It is certainly so real that that's just absolutely incredible.
Well, what we will do here on the show, we will mention time to time so more people can hear about your play.
Yeah.
Okay? And we can get more people coming out so they can get the knowledge that you're trying to put out there to everyone.
Yeah.
And it's to all denominations. That's the thing when they say unifying churches. And it's time in our community that we recognize that. You know, drug dealers never walk up and say, oh, you're Baptist or Methodist, or one that is abusing, and so we only do it to the Methodist or Catholic. No, we're going to unite. Why not? This is the capital. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
If we have an opportunity, maybe we can tell them, before it gets here, tell them how they can get information on the play.
Oh, okay. If you would, can you see that?
We've got the flyer here. We will inform you as to how you can get in touch. We'll put
Perfect.
the number up where
Perfect.
you can be contacted. This is what we do with everyone that's on the show.
Okay.
Mr. Wilson, you'll be back. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome anytime also.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very
Appreciate
much.
you coming down. Okay.
We
Thank you,
appreciate
Ms. Allen.
it. Okay.
Keep up the good work.